Welcome back to how to make a Minecraft rig in Blender. This is the fourth and hopefully final part of this tutorial mini-series. So we're going to be making the face rig today, but as you can tell, I'm going to hide these bones because we don't need these guys at all in this video. So we're going to go back and we're going to hide those, turn that X-ray back off. I'm actually going to turn off the grid as well, display the grid floor and the X and Y lines. So now what we have here is our rig with a face on it already. We already have a face, but we need to get rid of that face, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to replace this texture. And the good thing about this is I'm also showing you how easy it is just to replace this skin and put another skin on it anytime you want to. So we're going to open up the UV image editor and choose my skin that is currently being used as the face and head. And instead of using this face and head, we're going to open up another image. I'm going to open a new texture here, and I'm going to select the new image. This image has the same exact skin with no face on it. So I've taken the face off, and pretty much what we're going to do now is we're going to select that texture. And when we select that texture, as you can tell, it's not going to change anything because we have to have this selected, and then when we do that, we can change to the no face. So now we have no face. It looks pretty creepy, I know. These vertices right here, maybe that right there. I'm gonna do square eyes. So before we do anything, I want to select the mesh, and I want to select everything. So double tap A, and select the bones, and I'm going to hit Shift D, and we're going to move that and hit M to another layer, just any other layer, just so we always have a backup if we mess this copy up. So now we're going to save this and we're going to select the head once again, and with our little things that we just made, the little eye holes, we're going to hit E and extrude those in about right there. Right, so if I have his eye holes selected like that and we give a quick render, boom, as you can tell, there is the eye holes just like that. But what we need to do is we need to fix this up because the material is now lost because we're in Blender render. So let's go, and we're gonna change on over to cycles. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to color, image texture, and open up the no face. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with all the body textures, just so we can give this a quick render. Of course, if you were doing this in internal, you would you'd do the same thing, but just instead of hitting image there, you would go and you would just use the you create a new material, and then of course you would go and scroll all the way down and then add the texture in like that. As you can tell, it has all these weird lines and everything like that. And the way we do that is we go over here and we change this from linear to closest. And we select closest, everything will go back to how it was before. So if we give this a quick render, you'll be able to tell that now we have our eye holes and we have our non-blurry texture. It looks absolutely awesome so far. And we're going to add in mesh. We're going to add in a plane. RX 90. And then we're going to move that into the little holes that we just made until we finally start to see them right there. So boom, right there. Looks pretty good to me. And then we're going to create a new material or use the one we already have. And we're going to call this, we'll scale that down a bit so it's not peeking out of the head. And we'll call this eyes, just so it has a name. Eyes white. There we go. And then we'll make this a solid white. So now when we render this, we have the actual whites of the eyes, which is nice. So we're almost there to having actual eyes. So now we have the whites. Now we need to do the pupils. So we'll just hit Shift A and add in a cube. Scale that down and move it over, of course, to where the pupil would and should be. Move it to about right there. Hit 1 on my numpad to go in the front facing view so we can see a bit better what we're doing. Move that to about the center of the eye. I can make it a bit bigger. Something like that. Oh, that's really far out there, so we'll move that in something like that. Maybe scale it down a little bit more. I do want it to have a bit of depth, so move it out like that. And then Shift D, and then we'll open up this panel, and to get it perfectly in the exact same place, just on the other side, we'll get rid of that negative sign and put that right over there. So now if we render this, it'll look a bit creepy, but I'm going to add in a new material and make that like a brown color because my eyes are brown. Something like that, and we'll call that eyes pupil. And we'll save this, of course, and render. If we give this a quick render, you'll be able to tell that we now have the pupils of our eyes, even though, like, oh, we didn't do the second eye. So let's do that one. And now you can tell that we do have our pupils and our eyes, but it looks a bit creepy because it looks like we're staring. So we need eyelids. That's what we need. So how we're going to do this is we're going to add in another cube. But this time we're going to scale it on the y-axis very, very thin. Something like that. And then we'll move it on out. Scale it down and cover up one of the eyes. Put this back on texture so we can see a bit better what we're doing. Cover up one of the eyes, something like that. And we'll move that to about right there until you can't see the pupil any longer. And we'll select this top face up here and drag that down since we don't need to be all the way up there. We'll add in the texture of our guy. And as you can tell over here, we'll delete that until we get this texture over here perfectly. As you can tell, it's all blue, and that's because it's picking up the texture from my pants. So if we select this and we go no face, select all that, hit U, Smart UV, unwrap, project, whatever it is, and then I grab the texture of my face or something close to it, then we'll have the same exact texture of our face on our eyelid, which looks way better. But what we can do is we can now duplicate this and move that over with the negative sign, get rid of that, enter. So now we look a bit bored. So now we're looking a bit shifty. Now we're squinting our eyes. Maybe it's bright outside. I don't know. We're gonna go over to the shape keys, which is this tab right here, the upside down triangle with the 3 points on it. And we're going to hit 2 keys for the shape key. So 1, 2. So we want to do this first and then duplicate them. My bad. I'm sorry about that. All right. So here we're gonna grab that little piece of the eyelid that just folded itself up really disgustingly. Material, and now if we drag that down, we have that. So let's duplicate it. Duplicate, and then get rid of that negative sign one more time, and then we'll duplicate both of those. RX, or RY, and then 180, and then move them down to about where we want them to land. Eyelid, then it's up, then it's down. That one, make sure all of these work. So now we're looking a bit crazy. Look at that. Ooh, yeah. All right. So now we have our eyelids. I've actually decided to move the eyes a bit like this because, like I said, it looked a bit creepy before with this eye. So we're going to delete that, and I'm going to duplicate this eye. I just pretty much scaled it. I like that a lot. So now we have our eyelids resting in a natural position. Now we need to do the mouth and the eye. I'm going to do eyebrows. So we're going to do eyebrows as well. And then we'll add in a cube. Scale that to about the length of that. And then over on the side, we'll add in a new material. And, of course, we'll make that solid black because we don't have gray eyebrows. And then we'll move that there, duplicate it, of course, and the negative sign. And if we want, we can always rotate these guys with RY like that. Very, very simple stuff. If we select the bone of the one we just duplicated and hit the location to 0, and then we go ahead and SX, and then 1 negative, then we can flip it right around just like that. So that's pretty good. I like the way that is. So if we save this once again, now we can get started on the mouth. So now that's going to be our mouth. That's the shape of our mouth right there. And we're going to hit E, and we're going to extrude that. Ooh, we're going to extrude that. Let me hit Z on my keyboard so I can see exactly how deep that's going. About right there. It looks pretty good. So that's our mouth hole right there. And as you can tell, our eyes are getting in the way. So we're going to select the eyes, select the edge, and move that up so it's not cutting into the way of our mouth, and add in a cube. Once again, scaling on the y-axis, cutting that down to about right there because we do need teeth. Move that right there. Scale it on the z-axis with SZ. Move it inside my face, and more down a little bit, something like that, and that looks pretty good. And then ZX, so it's not coming out the sides of my face. The R. So I'm going to duplicate this. And we're going to move that down about right there. So now our teeth meet each other. And in not edit mode, we're going to add 2 new keys. And on key 1, we're going to pull that all the way up. And then in edit mode, we're going to pull the teeth up to about right there. So now if you want to make the teeth less or more, you can always do that.